2025 is going to be one of the biggest gaming years ever, and I got some predictions for things that will happen. Some are good things, some are bad things. Some big games will be announced. Will they be successful? Will some games come to other There's a ton to go over. Let's start with the first one, and I want to talk a bit about Mafia, the Old Country. Of course, we got this trailer during the Game Awards, and kind of one of the things they've been like kind of saying a lot is, yo, don't expect levels of open world in Mafia, the Old Country. Like, it's going to be more like Mafia 2. And I still think it will be a great game. I think it will be fine. But I think one of the headlines will be, when Mafia comes out, you can finish it in 6-7 hours. I really think this is going to be a relatively short game, and I have a good reason to think that. So again, it's not going to be open world. It's going to be way more linear. And if we look at Mafia 2, we see that it was 12 hours to beat, 16 hours with the side content. Again, I think this is going to be, like, there will be headlines saying it's only 6 to 7 hours. Obviously, when you start playing it yourself, take your time. It will probably be more around the Mafia 2 thing. But I do think after Mafia 3 and how games are these days, that people will be kind of disappointed by that length. But we have to remember one thing when talking about Hangar 13. Because they are, of course, developing this new Mafia game. And they had, like, after Mafia 3, of course, was not really a huge success. It sold a lot, and then because of bad word of mouth, it did not really move a lot of needles and units after that. And what we learned is that in November 2021, they had been working on this new IP for a very long time, and it cost Take-Two $53 million to cancel that game. The project's cancellation affects close to 200 people, so that's big. Sources told Kotaku that one of the unique aspects of the 3-player co-op game was tech that could see enemies combined together into more challenging foes. The action was described as arcadey, with a tank, healer, and DPS roles, and a lot of traversal. The code name was short for Voltron. So basically, they were making a sort of superhero type game, kind of when the live service kind of hype started and everyone was like, hey, we need to do more RPG kind of games. But yeah, they canceled that. Like, my point mostly is that they canceled that, and maybe for the best. This doesn't sound that appealing, at the end of 2021. So they started working on Mafia the Old Country in 2022 probably, or maybe late 2021. So it has been in development for close to 2. Like, when it comes out, it will likely be in development for 3 years. That's not a lot these days. So that's why I think we are looking at a relatively short game. And again, I still look forward to it, but I think that's what's going to happen. That we will get the headlines 6 to 7 hours. Moving on to Bloomberg, of course, the one and only Jason Schreier. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows now. Jason Schreier, just like many other analysts, are like this. Not all is well in Paris, where Ubisoft Entertainment has seen shares plummet to their lowest in a decade on weaker than expected sales and the delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was originally planned for last year, but slipped into February after the underperformance of Ubisoft's previous big game, Star Wars Outlaws. Now Ubisoft is weighing over options, including going private. The upcoming release of Assassin's Creed Shadows could tell us a lot. If it's a hit, Ubisoft will have more time and leverage as the founding Guillemot family sorts out the company's future. But if it's a flop, we might see drastic reorganization happen very quickly, be it a buyout or a sale. Tencent Holdings, which already owns a stake in Ubisoft, has to be linked to the buyout talks, but we could also see an unexpected suitor swoop in. One guess, the Saudi Arabia Zavi Games Group, which is said to be looking to make a big purchase this year. Basically, what is going to happen with Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows? Of course, this is my most anticipated game for 2025. I can't wait. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to spend hundreds of hours in this game. I think, personally, that Ubisoft will live to see another day. And that they will continue business as usual. Shadows, I think, when it comes out, will not be as big as Valhalla, but it will be bigger than Origins and Odyssey at launch. Mirage had the same amount of players as Origins and Odyssey. I think this will be bigger than Mirage. Mirage sold 5 million units in a few months. Shadows will obviously sell more. It can really go both ways. I can totally be, and I know I am, in a way, in a bubble where all I see is that people are excited for this game. I know that. On the other hand, I also know about a lot of like pre-launch hype these days for other games. And what I see is that the pre-launch hype, like for example this video that I posted on my second channel, JorRaptor, has 150k views. For gameplay on a pre-launch game, that's good. That's really, really good. Usually people get hyped for a game closer to release. So I think there are a lot of people that are going to buy this game. It's going to be more successful than a lot of people are thinking, looking at the sort of headlines. So I think when this game comes out, it will not be as big as Valhalla, but it will have a good word of mouth. It will continue to sell well. It will not die down as fast as maybe other titles. I mean, Odyssey was also a slow start, and then it kind of just kept going. It's the second most successful Assassin's Creed game after Valhalla. But I do think Ubisoft, there will be changes inside Ubisoft for sure. I totally think they will have to look at their portfolio and be like, okay, is it worth it to spend money on a Rayman game? Is it worth it to continue with Project U? Like, they have to change. But I think that it's not weird for a publisher to survive on 2 franchises. And for Ubisoft, that could be Rainbow Six and Assassin's Creed. Like 2K with GTA Online, like Rockstar basically, and NBA. Square Enix, Final Fantasy is kind of what they're banking only on, the online game. Like, all these companies have a few big franchises, and that's where basically all their money comes from. And yeah, Ubisoft is in a bad period, but they also have not launched a big Assassin's Creed like this since Valhalla. So again, maybe I'm in a bubble. Obviously, I kind of know I am. I'm surrounded by people that, like me, are interested in the game. But I think Ubisoft will be fine. They still have to change a lot. But I think Shadows will do pretty good. Yeah, I don't think this will cause them to change a lot. But going on to another game, to another series that is near and dear to me, that will see another game release this year. If you think about it, they've been launching a new game or a new thing you can play every year since Forbidden West. Then the VR game, Burning Shores DLC, then the Lego game. This year, they're going to launch Horizon Online. I mean, they had this intern. They removed the job opening, but they had this job opening for a release intern where this person would be making the game ready for launch in the first half of 2025. It's going to be revealed this year. So I have a prediction about the reveal. What I think will happen with Horizon Online, we're seeing a leaked image here from let me like quickly remove myself so you can see that other character there. It could totally look different. This was an old image. But they have been saying they're doing the stylized graphics. I think 2 things. One, the first trailer won't go over well. And that has been kind of my nightmare with this game, or my worry. Like, maybe not as important as Shadows is for Ubisoft, but I think Horizon Online is really important for Guerrilla Games. Because they are in an interesting position with the Horizon franchise. They want it to be way bigger than it is. Forbidden West was sold half of Zero Dawn. So they're banking on this online game to push the franchise to the heights that they want. And I think that there's a possibility because coming together with a group of friends, hunting these robot dinosaurs, like the combat, I think the game will be great. For sure. I mean, Guerrilla Games is one of the best gaming development studios, I think, out there. But I'm not sure if they're making the right decisions with this art style. Because I do think you might alienate the core fan base who wants a more realistic game. I think the Horizon fan base is usually probably around the 25, 32, maybe more in the 30s than in the 20s. And looking at this, it looks more like a, maybe not a kid's game, but more like a Fortnite type game. And I don't think that goes over well. Now, obviously, it can be different. There are games like Immortals that also have a more stylized art style and that look great. Maybe it will be like that. But I don't know. I have a feeling that something about that first trailer will rub people the wrong way and will make people less excited. But what I then think will happen is that when we start to learn more about the game and learn how big it actually is, and that it is basically Horizon 3, but with other people, and we don't play Aloy, which I think is going to be very exciting to play one of the people from the tribes. Maybe we can create our own character, or we pick one of these pre-selected characters that are in one of the tribes. You are way more grounded. You're not as OP as Aloy. I think, look, as an Horizon fan, learning more about the world instead of from the eyes from the same person, I think is going to be very exciting. So I think the initial reveal won't go over well. But then, as we start to learn more, maybe they will do a beta down the road. People will start to play. They're actually like, whoa, this is actually really good. And then we learn, oh, wow, it's a big open world game. There's 50 hours of content. You can play it alone if you want. You don't have to play with friends, etc., etc. As we move on, people are like, ooh, this actually sounds better than that first trailer looked. So that's kind of my prediction for the rollout of Horizon Online. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's like a slam dunk from the start. And boom, beta drops a week later. Boom, 2 weeks or 2 months from now, the game launches. I don't know. We will see. But yeah, that's my Horizon Online prediction. And they're also looking for a studio creative director for marketing. For exceptional marketing and licensing opportunities across our Horizon franchise. Basically, they're ready to start talking more about the future. Because while I liked the Lego Horizon game, while I had fun with the few hours I played of the VR game, I want to hunt robot dinosaurs in an exciting way. Let's move on. I'm gonna go I'm gonna skip one topic and then go back to that. Let's move on to this. I think by the end of 2025, multiple Xbox games are going to be on PS5. The first one you see here, I totally think Starfield will be on PS5 by the end of the year. I think they will do it in September. That's when they seemingly want a new DLC every year. So I think that's going to happen. The other game I think that will be out on PS5 by the end of the year is Hellblade 2. Like, that game, and we will talk about that in the biggest flops as well. If you're watching on YouTube, you can maybe watch that video on the channel already. Otherwise, subscribe to not miss it. But yeah, Hellblade 2 did not set the world on fire in 2024. And that's also because the first game was a PS4 exclusive when it came out. And it was maybe on PC as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or in the comments. But yeah, people did not show up for this game. Obviously, it was on Game Pass as well. And it's like a 5-hour game. So why would you buy it? There's really no reason to. But yeah, I think they will try to get a second life on PS5. But I don't think a lot of people will show up for it. Maybe they will. I hope for the best, of course. Because it is a talented studio, but yeah. Forza Horizon 5 will also be on PS5 by the end of 2025. This is going to be huge, I think. This is going to be Sea of Thieves levels huge. This game is amazing. I'm not a huge racing fan, but like even I like this. And it's of course like one of the biggest Xbox Series X and S games. And there were rumors actually about this coming to PlayStation already. But I think it will happen. Like they will probably announce it and then it will be out in like a few weeks. And the final one is Avowed. That's of course coming in February to PC and Xbox. But I think, it will come to PlayStation before the end of the year as well. Because Outer Worlds 2 is of course also from Obsidian. And that's coming day one to PlayStation. Obviously, Outer Worlds 1 was on PlayStation already. And yeah, they do like to kind of keep that going. But I think Avowed will make its way over as well after its launch on Xbox. And I kind of worry because it's, of course, coming out... Oh, they still have the 2024 in this trailer. It's, of course, coming out like... It's being sandwiched between Shadows and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. There are a lot of people that are talking a lot of good stuff about it, but I think people will go for other games first. So then having that second wave on PS5 as well, I think will do the game favors. It looks awesome. I want to play it as well, but again, I will be in Japan or I will be playing Kingdom Come. Let's go to another kind of sad prediction I have. And again, if you have predictions, drop it in the comments or in the chat, and I will shout them out if you're watching live here as well in a moment. I fear the worst for Donut. Donut has a special place in my heart. They're, of course, the developers of Remember Me. Remember that? It's an old game. I kind of liked it. Maybe I can look up some gameplay. It was not like an amazing game or something, but I love the sort of futuristic vibe that they had going. Kind of Deus Ex style. Third-person action game. It looked very, very good for that day and age. Like it was like awesome. I just loved the setting. So yeah, they had this game, and I was like, okay, this is speaking to me. I kind of like this. Then they, of course, did Life is Strange. That kind of put them on the map. They made a ton of money from Life is Strange. And then they did Vampire, an action RPG, of course, with very impactful choices. So, you could, like, choose to eat the person and then become stronger. And you were, like, fighting a plague. I played that game. It wasn't really for me. I could not really get into the setting myself. But I know a lot of people loved it. But it had some very interesting mechanics where I think you could, like, kill everyone in the game and then break quests and stuff. But after that, they've been kind of struggling. If we go over to their Wikipedia, here, Vampire, Life is Strange 2 was not as big as the first one. Obviously, a different studio, Deck 13, did Life is Strange Before the Storm, which was a prequel to Life is Strange with those characters. That was really cool. Life is Strange 2, when it came out, I just didn't hear great things about it, so I peaced out. I did not play it. I think these games were also really, like, nobody... I don't even know what these games are. I heard bad things, I think, about this one, but I don't even know. Again, so they kind of, like... Then they had Jusant. I think they published that, but it seems like they developed that too, which was, like, the climbing game. But the big one was last year, around this time last year, Banishers Ghost of New Eden. I even bought the collector's edition for that game. I really liked it. I thought they did some very interesting stuff, like the side missions were very important in that game because of the overall narrative. Totally check my video out on the main channel if you are curious about the game. If you can get it for like $10, $20, I think it's worth it. It's like a fun, like, kind of God of War-esque type game, but obviously not as, like, polished and not as, like, high budget. But yeah, if we go to this article from IGN that you already saw here, basically they laid off 69 workers because the announcement comes as with the company's financial result for the first half of the year today. So this was in October 2024, which showed an 11% year-over-year decline in operating revenue. And that is insane because during this time, they launched both Banishers Ghost of New Eden and Jusant. So both games just did not do well for them, and that caused them to already lay off some people. But if you then look ahead at what they have, again, if we quickly go to the Wikipedia, we see Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. That is their next game, and let's see, I have a trailer right here. So this is basically another spiritual successor to Life is Strange. Like, I am interested in it. I like the art style. It looks great. And I'm curious to see what they do with it. But I don't know. Nobody is talking about this. I looked at their Twitter account. They have like 12k followers, which is not bad. But it's like, it feels like these types of games just don't hit the same note anymore. When Life is Strange came out, it was kind of new in what it did. It was very interesting. And this just feels like Sure, it could be very interesting, could be cool, but we've kind of seen that already. So I'm not sure if this is gonna be their savior, and they're launching this in February, like the first episode, like the first half, and then the second half in March. So I don't know, man. They're banking basically their future kind of on this, because the next game they have after this is very far away. So that's kind of where my prediction comes from. I'm just like kind of worried about them. I don't know if not. Maybe they will survive 2025, but I think it won't look pretty for them, sadly, in the new year, unless they can get some funding. And like they're in a very tough spot because they don't have this franchise they can just rely on and keep working on while thinking of new IP. No, they had Life is Strange, and Life is Strange is also not as big as it was. And obviously they're not working on that anymore. So I just don't see this being that big. But yeah, that's kind of my set prediction regarding Donut. Let's move on with the other two predictions. And again, line your predictions up. I want to hear your 2025 predictions as well. So line them up. Let's move on to prediction number 6. I have 3 more. This is Greedfall 2. Maybe you remember that. It launched in early access in 2024. And that did not go over well. So obviously, I liked the first game a lot, and they were great. Why are we looking at like this still image? And it was like an action RPG. It came out at a great time where people were kind of hungry for a new game. I loved the setting, and it was surprisingly great. So now they're making a sequel that is a prequel. So they're calling it Greedfall 2. It takes place before Greedfall 1. And it completely changes the combat. And yeah, it's just not going over well. So this is the Steam charts. Let's see, can we go to... Oh yeah. The peak was 375. Yeah, that's not a lot. So they probably were inspired by Baldur's Gate. And they were like, we can do that too. Let's do a early access. And then, yeah, get feedback. And then keep working on the game and release the game in parts. And then when it's finished, we sell it. Well, as you can see, not a lot of people bought into it. The estimated, I think these are very generous. It's probably around the 10K that people bought it. And that's not a lot for a game like this. Now, obviously, it's still in development, so otherwise they would have never gotten money. But the core issue is that it's just, I don't know how you can call it Greedfall 2, but basically make a completely different game that happens to be in the same setting. And that's what they're doing. And there are totally some great ideas here, like the choices and the impact is still pretty well done. I still think the setting is very unique, so that's really cool, but this combat, this Dragon Age Origins combat, it's just not what people that like action-focused combat want. I do think there are more people that like the strategic gameplay that don't mind the action combat versus the other way around. So if it was first a Dragon Age Origin style game and then they did the Dragon Age 2 thing where it was action focused combat, I don't think there would be that much of an issue. But going from action based to more strategic, where you pause the game and basically don't really control a character anymore, it just doesn't work. So basically my prediction is they will completely rework this game because it's clearly not working what they're doing now. So I think they will rework the combat, and that will be like one of their big reveals where maybe at Summer Game Fest they're like, we heard your feedback and this is clearly not working. So they're going to go back to, so it's probably going to be the same game, but they will go back to the gameplay that people actually want to play, and then hopefully more people will show up. And obviously they do have the like, it's only on PC right now, so people on PlayStation and Xbox, they don't have the they were not like marketed to yet. They might not even know this game exists, so they totally have a second chance. But I do think, and they must listen to the feedback, that this is not what people want. And it's an interesting example of how early access might actually not work. Because I do think if they just didn't do early access and came out with like a game that people actually wanted. Like, that's interesting about this developer. They always make new IPs. This is the first time I think they're making a sequel, but they always want to do something different. So they were making a sequel, but they still wanted to do something different, and that's just not possible. You have to pick and choose. So again, I think Greedfall 2, big announcement this year. The combat will be action focused. Then let's do GTA. And maybe when you see this, you're like, okay, what is he going to talk about? Well, GTA is actually part of an announcement, or of a prediction that's with multiple games. I think certain games will just not hit 2025, and I think GTA 6 will not launch in 2025. Yeah, we of course did not get a trailer in 2024. I don't think that's saying too much. There could be many reasons for it, but I think it's Rockstar. I've showed you this in previous videos before. This Reddit post where they showed how every Rockstar game is delayed. GTA 6 probably has already been delayed many times, but yeah, 2025 is the official year. Of course, they said we now know it's at the end of the year. So basically, if something happens that they do not foresee, it moves, because they're already at the final point of the year that they can probably hit, and they are not in a rush. GTA Online is still doing really well for them. It's actually like it's improving. Like there are more people playing it also because of the hype, of course, for GTA 6. The GTA 5 is still selling 5 million units every quarter for Take-Two. They are not in a rush at all. So if they see something they can improve, because if this game is not exceeding people's expectations, that would be bad. That would be really bad, and they have no intention to do that. So I just don't see it happen. I just don't see it happen this year. And that will be a very interesting moment, I think, this year, where they will keep this release date for a long time, but then probably in September, October, they're like, sorry everyone, it's not gonna work. We're launching, and then they will have a direct date. They will say March 2026. That's what the new date. And then all the other games that were planning to go live in 2025 will be like, oh, by the way, we are in October, we are in November, because then they can breathe because GTA is out. So I think that's gonna happen. GTA 6 won't be out in 2025, but there are more games that won't be out in 2025. This pains me to say, but I think Crimson Desert will not launch in 2025. Main reason is this. Coming late 2025, basically, just like with GTA, if something happens, like late 2025 to me says December, right? Otherwise, you will say fall or holiday. No, it's late 2025. This is like, if anything happens, boom, pushed. And also this game looks, as you know, insane. Super, super ambitious. There's so much going on in this game. And I also think they don't need to rush it. They have Black Desert Online. I think that's still chugging along. They're not in a hurry to rush this game. And I think it has the potential to be massive. 10 million easily sold. So this looks just so awesome. But yeah. And I'm like overall saying this. I don't mind these games getting pushed, by the way, because it's already gonna be crazy 2025. So I'm fine with it. Because we have to remember that all the games we know about for 2025, there are going to be way more that are just not announced yet. So yeah, I think Crimson Desert will not launch in 2025. And the other one is, of course, Fable. This is the only gameplay trailer we have for this game, and we've known about it since 2020. And it still feels like a trailer you show for a game that is 2 years out, at least. Like it's very, the gameplay in this trailer, it's just cut, like, what is, like, there's nothing, it's like super fast. So we're going to combat in a moment here. It's all like few seconds and then moved on, and that's it. Boom. Okay. I'm really excited for this game. I want it to be great, especially this shot. looks insane to me. I can see this work. I can see this totally. This is gonna be amazing. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna launch in 2025. Then the final prediction I have is one that I'm gonna do a poll for as well for you. I think Death Stranding 2, people will watch the game way more than they will buy it. I really think Death Stranding 2 will sell 50% less than the first game in the launch week. That will be like a headline. I want to be wrong because I like what Kojima does. I think the game, you can see, it looks like quality. It looks like way better than the first game. But I just don't see people give this game more money if they did not like the first one. And I think half of the people that bought in on the first game, they tried it, and they just did not even get past the first 10 hours. So, I think, again, the trailers will drop. People will be, like, very excited. People will post a full video with, like, the movie of, like, all the cutscenes. But people will just not buy this game. So, let's do a poll. Are you gonna buy Death Stranding 2? What's a better poll? If you played Death Stranding 1, I wanna have. If you played Death Stranding 1, are you gonna buy Death Stranding 2? And I don't need to know if you finished it or anything, but if you touched it, you touched Death Stranding 1, are you going to buy Death Stranding 2? And it doesn't count if you're gonna get it later on a sale or if you're gonna wait for it to come to PlayStation Plus. No, are you gonna buy Death Stranding 2 full price? Will you buy it at launch? Well, of course, I'm in a weird position where I usually get games, like as a review code. I would not have bought it if I did not get a review code. I'm still not sure if I'm gonna play it. For me, the first game, I finished it. It was a chore for me. The amount of content that felt like side content that I had to do to continue with the main story, I didn't like it. So, personally, again, I like what they're doing. It's of course on the Horizon engine. It looks phenomenal. I like if there are previews and they're like, it's way more action focused, it's not running around anymore, you fight all the time, I might give it a shot. But it also depends on the other games that are coming out around the time. So currently, the poll says 25% who played Death Stranding 1 are gonna buy Death Stranding 2. But 75, 76 is kind of fluctuating. 77, basically, 75, let's say 75% is not gonna buy Death Stranding 2 after having played Death Stranding 1. And on Twitch, it's the same. That kind of proves my prediction here that I think this game sadly won't do well. It will not sell well. And that will be one of the headlines where it's like, sales for Death Stranding 1 are 50% less than the opening of Death Stranding. Or sales of Death Stranding 2, 50% less than the sales of Death Stranding 1. Okay, if you got any predictions, drop it. Please, drop it. Let me know. It's not for everyone, for sure. But it does have the budget of games that should be for more people. That's kind of my point. This game cost a few $100 million to make, I think. Look at the actors they have. So yeah, they need to make that money back. My Metacritic prediction for Death Stranding 2, Paradox, I think it will probably be great. I think it will be a 90. But I don't think it will matter. It's like, if you go to a restaurant and you did not like your first experience, you bought this, like, you paid $60 or more, and then you hear from friends, yo, they changed the chefs, and it's way better now, and yeah, you should totally go again. You're like, no. I've already gave them a shot. Maybe the food is better. I can go to other restaurants as well. But I could buy other games as well that I know I will probably like more. So, I don't think it's going to be great. I predict we see remakes this year from Ubisoft, such as Prince of Persia and Splinter Cell. Spago Vampire, they like the Prince of Persia remake was already confirmed for 2026, and Splinter Cell seemingly is 2026 as well. So sadly, won't happen. Will AC Black Flag come this year? Yeah, it seems like that. X-Saber Knight seems like that. Easy Mode is saying an announcement that Ubisoft is working on the next Watch Dogs. I think that's more like a wishful, hopeful dream instead of a prediction. But I hope it's true, but I don't see them. Like, they have other things to worry about than go back to this series that has not made a lot of money for them. When we will get more information about Hexe next year, Drobna. Probably in May 2026. Oh, let's go. But I mean trailers, sorry. I didn't know Splinter Cell was... Yeah, we might see, but Ubisoft usually, when they have like 2026 games or games that launch, they usually announce things in June that will be out very, very quickly. But maybe they always like to do at the end of a show a like tease for the future. And maybe that could be Splinter Cell. That would be cool, like a gameplay walkthrough of the Splinter Cell remake. Yeah, that's been quiet for some time.